Visualizing Architecture, ExplorArq Barrio Abajo, a virtual museum experience for cultural heritage dissemination. On the Caribbean coast of Colombia is located the department of Atlántico, and within its capital city, Barranquilla, is our research area Barrio Abajo. This zone was one of the first sectors consolidated as a neighborhood, and its history holds a significant part of the background and culture of the city, including ancestral cuisines and traditional native games. The neighborhood was a working-class sector characterized by cultural diversity, resulting from migrations during its consolidation period. Among its cultural contributions, we find its architectural styles and the Carnival of Barranquilla, declared a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity by UNESCO. Barrio Bajo has a normatively protected heritage area. Despite this, the properties have not received correct maintenance, and one of the reasons that intensifies this is that the population is unaware of their importance. Therefore, there exists a need to create a tool that is easily accessible to the community and exposes those characteristics of heritage buildings. Our project, ExplorArq Barrio Abajo, is a self-funded initiative that provides the community with a virtual museum that facilitates accessibility to information about historical structures through an immersive and educational experience of this ancient sector of Barranquilla. Its objective is to disseminate the historical memory of the heritage of one of the oldest sectors of the city, and its name combines the words explorar and arquitectura, which means explore architecture. The virtual museum focuses on architectural heritage, which are thus buildings significant for society due to their values. The main interface of the museum shows the 12 buildings within the perimeter of the neighborhood, along with a photograph of the property and its popular name. Its information contains the values that each place has: the historical value, which considers the relevant facts and the significant story of the property; the cultural value, which includes the celebration and events that take place on the urban environment, together with those uses that contribute to the cultural enrichment of the area; and the aesthetic value, represented by the level of conservation and influence of the architectural styles as the case may be. To complement this value, we present distinctive architectural elements from each property through interactive 3D modeling that contains details and their technical description. Based on this, we create an immersive tour of the buildings to allow users an approach to the architectural value of the Barrio Bajo heritage area.
This project is based on previous research in which we analyzed the heritage area of Barrio Bajo declared under the regulations of Barranquilla. The area is composed of 12 blocks that contain a total of 192 properties. We developed the research through interviews with the inhabitants of the sector and observation sheets applied to the buildings. With these techniques, it was possible to know the community's perception regarding this group of buildings and also identify their most relevant characteristics. From the information obtained, we considered the 3 heritage values of each property, choosing for the virtual museum those places with a medium or high rating in more than one of the mentioned values. The result was that just 12 properties met this condition. Following up, we are going to give a brief description of each one. Estación Montoya was built in 1871 as a train station that connects the city of Barranquilla with the municipality of Puerto Colombia. It currently serves as the headquarters of the government offices and is part of a cultural complex. This building has a Republican design and Caribbean Antillean inspiration. The tram station, named Estación del Tranvía, was the first public transportation system in the city, inaugurated in 1890. Today, it is part of a cultural center along with the plaza, gallery, and auditorium. This building also has a Republican design with Caribbean and Chilean inspiration. La Aduana was the Barranquilla Customs building inaugurated in 1849 and provided access to cruise ships and ocean liners. It currently has functions focused on culture. For example, the Atlantic Historical Archive, a library, and a musical documentation center, thus contributing to the conservation and promotion of cultural traditions. This property belongs to the Republican period and has a neoclassical influence in its design. La Pajarera functioned in 1910 as a customs agency in charge of making purchases from abroad. Nowadays, the place has various uses, such as residential and commercial, distributing typical food. This property has a Republican style design with a notable neoclassical influence. El Pasaje is a set of residential properties where local celebrations took place and notable figures for the sector resided. For example, the painter Efraín Cortés. The name of the building refers to a subdivision of land that the owners made to their homes to rent them. It is a property with eclectic architecture incorporating elements from various design styles, such as colonial, popular, and Art Deco. The Alfred Steckler building was the administration office of the company Steckler Aceros, founded in 1941, which was a pioneer in importing steel in the country. The property presents an influence of the Art Deco design style. Fábrica de Cultura was the headquarters of the Coal Tobacco Factory in 1920, which was the largest tobacco company in the country. Currently, there are social and cultural activities inside its facilities through the courses of the District School of Art and Popular Traditions. This building has an Art Deco influence and combines rectangular, square, rhomboid, and circular geometric elements. La Napolitana is a recognized property in the sector for being designed by the architect Manuel Carrera, who was one of the precursors of modern architecture in the country. The place was a pasta factory, and its design had an Art Deco influence using geometric elements like square, rectangular, and circular shapes. Restaurante Lili represents a milestone for the neighborhood community for being a restaurant that promotes the sale of dishes that are part of the typical gastronomy of the city. This building has a vernacular and popular influence on its architecture. It has vivid colors on its facade, managing to be striking and transmit the joy that characterizes the sector. Don Mille restaurant is well known for preparing typical dishes from the region's cuisine. The architecture of the building is vernacular and popular. It also has characteristics of the indigenous housing typology. Esther Forero's house is known by the community for being the residence of a singer who participated in the Barranquilla Carnival, making the property a point of various tourist routes. The structure has a vernacular architecture with elements taken from the colonial style, such as the typology of windows and doors. The Caribbean Museum opened in 2009, positioning as the first regional museum in the country. This property is part of the Caribe Cultural Park with educational spaces, a documentation center, an event hall, and a public plaza with an open-air theater. It presents contemporary architecture with a formal composition of geometric elements.
The methodology implemented for the programming, design, and development of ExplorArq consists of several applications divided into types according to their function. In the first type, there are applications related to graphic design, in this case, Photoshop, which we use to design the virtual museum logo and interactivity buttons and to establish a color palette and typography. The second group is composed of 3D modeling tools. We digitize the most notable architectural elements of each building using Revit, thus creating 3D models. In turn, we installed Speckle as an extension in Revit, which made it possible to create an online link to appreciate the details and interact freely with each 3D model. The third type of tool is for maps. The aim is to promote interactivity in ExplorArq by implementing Google My Maps to create personalized maps. There is a general map that indicates the location of all the buildings, and there are other ones that show the location of each particular property. Observing a different one in each index of the virtual museum. The fourth group is for programming applications. Through Microsoft Visual Studio Code, we achieve efficient coding and testing by establishing a work environment for which we created the HTML structure of the site. It was possible to structure the page focusing on clarity and intuitive navigation, ensuring easy access for the readers. The process then requires CSS to design the page, which included customizing its appearance and verifying its functionality and aesthetic. Once we completed the development, the next step was hosting it on GitHub Pages. This option was a simple and effective hosting solution allowing public access to our research. After extensive testing, we published the Virtual Museum, sharing a project that offers an innovative way to disseminate scientific knowledge through a web application, which is an effective platform for presenting interactive cartography by combining internet accessibility with a clear and professional design. Based on this research, we can conclude that virtual museums are valuable tools for digitizing characteristics of cultural heritage. In our case, the methodology implemented during the development of the product was appropriate because it facilitates access to data, thus providing a solution to the problem in which the population of Barrio Abajo is affected by the lack of accessibility to this type of information. ExplorArq Barrio Abajo is a museum that continues to undergo constant improvements. Currently, it is only available for computers, and in the future, it will propose enhancements to its methodology and the addition of new buildings to promote the city's heritage. If you want more information or have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you.